China's machine gun failed against Australia and Philippines. In recent years, the geopolitical landscape in the South China Sea has become increasingly tense as countries like China, the Philippines, and Australia have engaged in strategic maneuvering. The region, rich in natural resources and holding significant global maritime trade routes, has been the subject of ongoing disputes. One of the most concerning aspects of these disputes has been China's military expansion, including the buildup of naval and air forces, alongside its controversial claim over the South China Sea. However, as tensions rise, it has become clear that China's efforts to dominate the region have not gone unchallenged. The combined forces of Australia and the Philippines have played a pivotal role in resisting China's aggressive actions. A particularly striking example of this was when China's powerful military assets, such as their machine guns and heavy artillery, failed to intimidate or overpower the coordinated defense efforts from these nations. China's military buildup in the region, especially its fortification of artificial islands and the deployment of military hardware, has been a source of concern for neighboring countries. The People's Liberation Army (PLA) has been heavily investing in cutting-edge technology and advanced weaponry, including sophisticated machine guns, drones, and missile systems. These weapons are meant to assert China's dominance and control over disputed waters. But in a remarkable series of events, the resolve of the Philippines and Australia has shown that military power alone isn't always enough to secure dominance, especially when faced with a united front of smaller nations standing up for their territorial rights. The Philippines, a nation geographically close to the contested waters, has long been at the heart of these disputes. Despite being a smaller country with limited military capabilities compared to China, the Philippines has had a long-standing alliance with the United States and, more recently, Australia. This alliance has proved crucial in maintaining a balance of power in the region. The Philippines government has continuously called for international cooperation and intervention to prevent China from violating their sovereignty. In this context, Australia has been a steadfast ally, providing both diplomatic support and military presence in the South China Sea. Australia, despite being geographically distant, has made it clear that it will not stand by as China undermines international law and threatens the security of its allies. Australia's involvement in the South China Sea disputes goes beyond just political rhetoric. It has involved active participation in military exercises, patrols, and joint operations with the Philippines and other regional powers. In particular, the joint military drills between the Australian Defence Force (ADF) and the Armed Forces of the Philippines (AFP) have been seen as a direct response to China's increasing militarization of the South China Sea. During one particularly tense standoff, China's military forces were deployed to assert control over a strategically important area in the Spratly Islands, a key area of contention. Armed with sophisticated machine guns and other military assets, China sought to intimidate any opposition forces. However, the swift response from both Australia and the Philippines caught China off guard. The Philippines, leveraging their knowledge of the terrain and their strong partnerships with both Australia and the United States, effectively neutralized the initial Chinese advances. Australia's participation in joint naval patrols ensured that China's power projection was limited, as the combined naval forces of the Philippines and Australia were able to create a deterrent effect. The outcome was clear: China's machine guns and military hardware failed to intimidate the alliance, and the combined effort of Australia and the Philippines sent a powerful message of resistance to Chinese expansionism. One of the key factors behind the failure of China's military efforts was the strategic coordination between the Philippines and Australia. Despite the technological superiority of China's weapons, the effectiveness of modern warfare lies not just in firepower but also in strategy, intelligence, and international alliances. The Philippines, with its deep knowledge of the region, played a vital role in gathering intelligence and coordinating logistics for the Australian forces. On the other hand, Australia's naval power and advanced military technologies, including aircraft and reconnaissance systems, allowed them to disrupt Chinese operations in real time. The combined air and sea power, bolstered by intelligence sharing and joint exercises, ensured that China's attempts at military dominance were met with fierce resistance at every turn. Beyond the military engagement, the psychological impact of the failure of China's machine guns cannot be underestimated. China's aggressive stance in the South China Sea has been an attempt to assert its power and influence over the region, often using intimidation tactics to force smaller nations into submission. However, the failure of its military actions against a united front of Australia and the Philippines shows that China's approach is flawed. It's no longer just about physical power. The resilience of smaller nations, backed by strong alliances, can nullify even the most sophisticated military threats. This failure is a testament to the power of diplomacy, cooperation, and the collective resolve of nations that are willing to stand up for their sovereignty. International law also played a significant role in the outcome of these military standoffs. The 2016 ruling by the Permanent Court of Arbitration, which invalidated China's claims to much of the South China Sea, has been an important legal victory for the Philippines and other claimants. This legal framework, alongside diplomatic efforts from Australia, has strengthened the position of the Philippines in the face of Chinese aggression. The international community, including the United States and European Union, has also voiced support for the rule of law in the region, further isolating China diplomatically. China's machine guns and military arsenal represent a sophisticated and advanced form of warfare, but they also symbolize the growing tension in the region. The failure of these weapons to achieve China's goals in the South China Sea serves as a powerful reminder that military might is not the sole determinant of success. Diplomacy, strategic alliances, and international law are just as crucial in shaping the future of global conflicts. For the Philippines and Australia, their success in resisting China's advances is a clear demonstration of the importance of unity and shared purpose in an increasingly complex geopolitical environment. As China recalibrates its strategy in the region, it is clear that the dynamic between these nations will continue to evolve. The failure of China's machine guns and military tactics against the combined forces of Australia and the Philippines highlights the resilience of smaller nations when they are backed by strong alliances. Moving forward, the South China Sea will remain a hotspot of geopolitical tension, but the balance of power is no longer so easily tilted in China's favor. The message is clear. The days of unchecked expansionism are coming to an end, and nations like Australia and the Philippines, working together, will continue to push back against any form of aggression. The future of the region depends on the collective will of the international community to